So this is part 2 of ECG. In this, this is first slide. In this slide, you are seeing the heart. You can see the heart. Hmm? Just to review the anatomy once more, because this is a aorta. This is aorta. You can see this. This is aorta. You can see these two vessels, which one vessel is coming here and one more is coming like this. You can see
Yes,
this.
sir.
This is these two vessels are called coronary vessels. This is right coronary artery and this is left coronary artery. The left coronary artery divides into left circumflex artery and left anterior descending artery. Huh? Okay. Uh, we'll go to the next slide. Now, before this, I am talking about ischemic heart disease. Ischemic heart disease. Ischemic heart disease, clinically, we can divide them into two groups. One is stable angina, another one is acute coronary syndrome. Okay, this acute coronary syndrome is further divided into NSTEMI and STEMI. NSTEMI is further can be grouped into unstable angina and subendocardial infarction. Note this. So acute coronary syndrome has got how many? Unstable angina, subendocardial infarction, and STEMI. There are three diseases here. Okay. This is what is STEMI stands for?
ST elevation myocardial infarction.
Yeah, ST segment of ECG. I discussed about this in last class. So this is actually in STEMI there is a ST elevation, where in NSTEMI there is no ST elevation. Not necessarily there should be ST depression. It only say non-ST elevation MI. Patient can just present with the T wave inversions. Okay, they may not be ST depression, but more often it will be. But there may not be ST depression, but definitely there is no ST elevation. Why this is important? Huh? NSTEMI and STEMI. I'll come to stable angina. So here you can see this is a myocardium. You can see
Yes.
myocardium. This is the thickness. Hold on a second. This is full. This is the thickness of the myocardium. You can see. Hmm, hmm. You can see thickness of the myocardium. In this case, the the damage or the infarct or death of the muscle is full thickness, from endocardium to epicardium, pericardium, whatever, to endocardium to epicardium, full thickness. There is an infarct here. Whereas in this, there is only endocardium to in between only. It is not full thickness is not there. This part is spared. You're seeing me, seeing this.
Yes, sir.
So when this is there, this kind of damage is there, it produces ST elevation. Okay. But if this whole full thickness it is involved, it produces ST elevation. So if that is not full thickness, only limited to some endocardium, then it produces ST depression. Okay. This is
Yes, sir.
isoelectric line. This is a PR segment, na? This is isoelectric line. So here it is a ST elevation. Here there is a ST depression. So subendocardial infarction or ischemia, it will produce ST depression,
Depression.
whereas full thickness infarction will produce ST elevation. So this is important because imagine this is a, yes, imagine this is a vessel. If the blockage is less than 100%, if the blockage is less than 100%, it usually ends up with N STEMI. Okay. If the blockage is full, full, 100% block, it produces STEMI. Okay. That is a major difference. And how this ischemic heart disease manifest means heart disease. Sorry, I'll show this nicely here. This is the vessel. So what happens is over the span of many years, there is a plaque formation. What is the disease cause?
Sclerosis. Atherosclerosis.
Atherosclerosis. Okay, but blood will be flowing with a limitation. Right? Blood will be flowing with a limitation. If this plaque is obstructing less than 50%, usually there will not be 50% of this lumen. Usually there will not be any symptoms. If it is 50% plus obstruction, 50% plus obstruction, there will be manifestation of ischemia to the tissue supplied by this vessel. Okay. And if this is a stable, this plaque has happened for many period. If it is stable like this, the patients will have stable angina. Okay. What is this?
Stable angina.
It is not a acute event. Stable angina is not a acute event. I'll come to this. Stable angina means also called as effort angina. The patient gets angina after doing some exercise. And usually it manifests with that quantity of the exercise, and patient will be like this only for long period of time. Patient will be stable. He gets pain. If you, for example, a old man of 70 years is having stable angina, means the patient may complain to you, sir, if I climb one floor, I will get chest pain. And if I sit for 5 minutes, the chest pain will go. So such a patient, and he is telling this last 1 year, he comes to you for once in a month and for checkup. This is his symptoms. This patient is having stable angina. There is no change in his symptoms. Patient is on some tablets, that is sublingual nitroglycerin, aspirin, clopidogrel, may not be clopidogrel, and statins, on some beta blockers. Patient is comfortable with this. This is called a stable angina. Okay. Now I'll come to unstable angina, acute coronary syndrome. Coronary syndromes. Okay. Here, this is the vessel wall. Okay. Here, there is atherosclerotic plaque. Okay, there is atherosclerotic plaque. This may be usually more than 50%. More than obstruct plaque. Atherosclerotic plaque happens over a span of many years. It doesn't happen suddenly. What happens in more than or less than 50%? It could be more often. It will be more than 50% block. What happens is the endothelium covering is there here. It gets torn off, eroded. Yeah, eroded. So as it is eroded, the underlying fat and all those things get exposed to the blood here. So there is a formation of thrombus here. Thrombus suddenly. Okay. Thrombus. So this occludes the vessel. Okay. It occludes the vessel. And if this occlusion is 100%, patient will end up with STEMI. And less than 100%, patient may end up with NSTEMI. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
They may not be thrombus. Usually STEMI means there is a thrombus. NSTEMI, there may not be thrombus, but in STEMI there will be thrombus. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now you can understand the acute event has happened because of what is this?
Thrombus.
Thrombus. So what is our goal? We should remove this thrombus for acute event, at least. So otherwise the tissue which is supplied by this blood vessel will die, get infarcted. So only we have got thrombolytic drugs. So other day I was talking about thrombolytic drugs. Okay, what are thrombolytic drugs? Tell me. Streptokinase. Then urokinase. What is it? TKA we call. Then reticulase, sorry, we call it as reticulase. Many more are there. These are the commonly
Effective
used
place.
thrombolytic drugs. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So these other, if not thrombolytic drugs, we go for primary angioplasty. This is actually better. Huh? Either patient should receive what's a thrombo
Lytic therapy,
thrombolytic therapy or
percutaneous angiography.
primary angioplasty. This should be done. So this is more preferred actually, primary angioplasty, but facility of cath lab and the cath lab should be there. And there are many things like it should be done very urgent basis. Okay, that is the one thing which is the best treatment for STEMI is this primary angioplasty. Okay. So you should know the indications and contraindications of thrombolytic drugs. They may ask if there is any bleeding tendency, recent CVA, cerebrovascular accident, bleeding, hemorrhagic stroke in the past, intracranial
Hypertension.
injury, bleeding piles, upper GI bleeding, any bleeding things are risk factor for what? Risk factor for thrombolytic therapy. They are better to be avoided.
Yes, sir.
They are better to be avoided. Hold on. Roshan is joining now. Welcome, Roshan. Okay, okay, okay. Welcome. Now, I was so management of MI. There are a lot of questions will come on management of MI. That's why I'm discussing them. So, in a STEMI patient, we should have thrombolytic or primary angioplasty, and apart from that, we should give them aspirin, clopidogrel, or ticagrelor. Then we should give them statins, beta blockers,
Beta blockers.
ACE inhibitors. Okay,
Yes, sir. Yes,
we'll
sir.
discuss each of them. Aspirin. Aspirin is antiplatelet drugs. It will
Yes, sir.
reduce the formation of clot.
Yes, sir.
Clopidogrel combination is given to enhance its activity. Read the mechanism of action of aspirin and clopidogrel. They will ask you this question. That's why I'm telling you. Aspirin, clopidogrel, ticagrelor mechanism of action. And there is it acts in a different part of the platelets. Both of them will act on the platelets only. Antiplatelet drugs. Then we give them what? After aspirin,
Ticagrelor.
beta blockers. Beta blockers are usually given to prevent arrhythmias.
Yes,
What is the commonest cause of death? Because arrhythmia, na? To prevent
Yes, sir.
yes,
arrhythmia,
sir.
beta
Ventricular
blockers are
fibrillation.
given. Okay. Then we give them ACE inhibitors. ACE, ACE inhibitors to to prevent.
So heparin.
I'll come to that. Prevent
Non-HT
remodeling.
elevator. Heparin.
Prevent remodeling of ventricles because when the ventricle muscle get damaged, for example, this part of the ventricle muscle damaged, the stress will fall on these rest of the myocardium. Okay,
Yes, sir.
this leads to dilatation here, dilatation of the ventricles, and by Laplace law, bigger the volume, more tension wall, and effective contraction will not be there. Okay, to prevent the
Yes, sir.
dilatation of the heart, we give them AC inhibitors. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And they'll worsen the heart failure. To reduce that, we give them AC inhibitors. Okay, that is the predominant reason for giving them AC inhibitors.
Sir,
Then,
what is
as you said,
the dose of aspirin and
what?
clopidogrel, sir?
What?
Sir, what is the
What
dose
is
of
it?
aspirin and
Yeah, aspirin,
clopidogrel?
aspirin.
There
Okay,
was a
100
question.
mg.
aspirin usually is given 150 mg. Some people give 75
Uh,
mg. 150, 75 to 150 is more than sufficient. Okay. And clopidogrel is given 35 mg twice a day for first week, then once a day. Okay.
Yes,
Atorvastatin
sir.
should be given 40 mg. Rosuvastatin at least 20 to 40 mg. It can be given. 40 mg is given.
Yes, sir.
Okay. These are statins apart from reducing cholesterol. They
Predominantly
have got
cholesterol
us
limit.
pleomorphic effect. That is, they stabilize plaques, atherosclerotic plaque. Thus, will reduce acute coronary syndromes. So, if the endothelium is there here, this endothelium, this erosion, it is prevented by this statins. So that's how we use statins. Apart from reducing cholesterol, this plaque stabilization is helped by statins. That's the one more action of atorvastatin it is, or all statins for this matter. So we use statins for that sake. And as Akash was telling, after giving lysis or plasti, we may give them low molecular weight LMW, sorry, low molecular weight heparin or uh, regular heparin, unfractionated, otherwise called as uh, unfractionated heparin. We give them. Okay, these two are given.
Sir,
Hmm?
it's for only non-ST elevated MI.
No, even non-ST elevation MI. This is definitely given. Following STEMI, if the patient has undergone primary angioplasty,
Yes,
instead
sir.
of lytic drugs, we still give them low molecular heparin. Some doctors, one after thrombolytic therapy, after 24 hours, they do give low molecular heparin. Even in
Okay,
STEMI,
sir.
after giving the lytic drugs, next day they may give low molecular heparin.
Okay,
Got
sir.
it? Hmm?
Yes, sir.
It is used by some. It is not wrong to give, especially following primary angioplasty. What is angioplasty? Occurs.
So,
You have seen
Uh,
cath lab.
yes,
yes,
sir. Coronary.
Coronary angioplasty is done. I'll show a cath lab. Sometime. In fact, maybe in next class I'll tell you about cath lab. You should know that there is a primary angioplasty is done. What we do is,
Restore the blood flow, sir.
blood vessel. Yeah, here in the this is a femoral artery or in the radial artery. We puncture. We go there into the heart. In the heart, we pass a wire and put a stent and come out here. Huh? You can see many videos. You come to know what is angioplasty. Just know that they may ask something about angioplasty. Okay.
And it is percutaneous coronary artery intervention, sir. It's similar
Percutaneous
to.
trans coronary angioplasty it is. Okay. Percutaneous intervention. Yeah. Hmm? Okay. If I go into detail all that, I'll not be able to complete ECG. Okay. Those things are
Yes,
easily
sir.
available on the net. What is angioplasty? You can just see and come to know. What is stenting and all
sir,
that.
they also do bypass grafting if
Yeah. See, primary angioplasty, if the vessels are not amenable to stenting, the patient will be referred to CABG, otherwise called bypass grafting. Angioplasty, if it is not possible, there are criteria. I don't think so. You worry about all those indications when patients should be sent to angioplasty, when should be sent to CABG. Just know that these facilities are available, and I think that is more than sufficient.
Yes, sir.
Read
Yes,
about
sir.
them. Okay. Huh? Because there is lot more for you to know. Okay, I told you about the transmitral subendocardial. Now we'll go to stable angina. What is stable angina? I told you, patient is having the symptoms, fixed quantity of symptoms since long time, no worsening, fine with drugs. That is the stable angina. That means patient is like that only since long time. Nothing is happening to him, is comfortable with the tablets, of course. That's stable angina. Okay. And occurs at a fixed effort, I told you. Mostly since long time. Okay, that's about stable angina. This is not emergency. Okay. We'll go to unstable angina. This is a type of acute coronary syndrome. I told you this. So, acute coronary syndrome, when a patient gets the first episode of angina, you never know. Am I correct? Huh? It could be unstable angina, it could be later on become a stable angina. So, first event should be considered as unstable angina. Huh? Got it?
Yes, sir.
Then unpredictable
Yes, sir.
course, you don't know, it is varying. And last month the patient was having once in a week chest pain, now is coming 3 times in a week or 4 times in a week. At rest also he is having pain. Huh? More severe quantity of pain, not relieved by the tablets what patient is taking. Huh? Is there, in this there is a infarct of, there may be. Hmm? Okay, there is no, in fact, this should be, there is no infarct. Wrongly I written it here. There is no infarct. Usually there is no infarct in unstable angina. Whereas in, but there is N semi part, there will be, I'll show that. In this, there is no infarct of myocardial tissue in unstable angina. Okay. These are the qualities of unstable angina. But, we'll go to N STEMI. N STEMI is ECG is almost similar to unstable angina. The cardiac enzymes are raised here because there is a infarct.
Yes, sir.
That is the reason cardiac. That's how we differentiate between unstable angina and NSTEMI by these enzymes only actually. Severity of the
Okay.
pain will all be there more, but this is the way up we differentiate. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So the ECG changes in stable angina, unstable angina, and NSTEMI. They're all more or less similar. Only it is a clinical differentiation. So you can see there is ST depression here. And there could
Yes,
be
sir.
T wave inversions like this. Seeing.
Yes, sir.
Or T wave has become flatter. Hardly you can see T wave. These are the ECG features of stable angina, unstable angina, NSTEMI. Only clinically you have to differentiate these two. And using enzymes, you have to say in between, differentiate between these two.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's how we differentiate. This is a ECG changes. Now we'll come to STEMI. I told you already discussed something about STEMI. The STEMI is the most serious form of ischemic heart disease. Okay, the pain will be very severe. There is ST elevation present. In case of inferior valve, the leads, you just note this, lead 2, 3 and AVF.
2, 3 ABF, sir.
Lead 2, 3 AVF, they are inferior valve leads.
Inferior.
So rest are all anterior valve. You can put it on. Very simple. Just remember this. Inferior valve means lead 2, 3 AVF, rest are all anterior valve MI. Okay.
Yes, sir.
These three you remember. Other thing you call it as anterior valve. Okay. Each to remember. If you want to say that the ST elevation in the precardial, that is V1 to V6 leads, the ST elevation should be more than 2 mm. That is more than 2 small squares.
Small
And if
square.
it is limb leads, 1 mm lead, 1 mm ST elevation is sufficient. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Getting me? So
Yes,
ST
sir.
elevation, what I was showing here. Here, this ST elevation, this quantity should be more than 2 leads, 2 squares in
Small
case of
square.
precardial leads, and for case of rest of the limb leads, it is should be at least more than 1 mm. Okay. This is a case of anterior wall MI. You can see there is a ST elevation here. There is ST elevation, ST elevation, ST elevation, ST elevation. Okay. At the same time, you are seeing ST depression here. Can you see that?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now, is this ST elevation MI or ST depression MI? Any non-STEMI, non-STEMI? STEMI.
STEMI, sir.
STEMI,
It is
sir.
still STEMI. Yeah. If you see ST elevation, this the ST depression is there or not, still you should call it as STEMI only. Okay. These are called reciprocal changes. Okay. Reciprocal changes. These are called reciprocal changes. You got it? So
Yes,
these reciprocal changes could be ischemia at a distance. That means the vessel which is supplying them was dependent on this vessel also due to collaterals and all that stuff. And now with this vessel, for example, I'll put it this way: the left anterior descending artery got blocked. Okay, now right coronary artery was supplying this these leads, tissue of these leads. Now this was giving collaterals to this. Okay, even this was also partially blocked. This was giving collateral to this. This got suddenly blocked 100%. Got it? So this is all the
Yes,
suffer
sir.
ischemia, but not infarct. Huh? So this will can produce ischemia at distance. Hmm? There are 2-3 theories for reciprocal changes. One of them is two theories for ischemia at distance. Otherwise, electrical reversion. Huh? Electrical phenomena it is. That's what they call. Okay. In fact, if there is ischemia at distance, we edge that there is a probably other that this vessel also is compromised. It was dependent on this, so it got changes. That's what we think. But there is a concept of electrical reversal, electrically,
Yes.
the opposite direction shift. So now this is a case of what do you say? This is a case of inferior wall MI, lead to 3 AVF. You can see there is AC depression here. You can see, still it is called as STEMI only. Okay, although this is there, lead to 3 AVF. So this is STEMI of inferior wall. Now, when there is this is a very important question they'll ask in exams, progression of STD changes, how it changes. So this is a normal case when initially first thing to happen is tall T waves. Okay, this is the first thing. The moment the thrombus get blocked, this happens first. Okay, tall T waves comes, and after a few minutes, the ST will start increasing, going upwards, and it further goes up like this. Okay, you can see ST changes from here till here. ST first there is a hyperacute tall T wave, then ST elevation starts. Over a span of minute to hours, it happens. Okay, once after hours to days, the loss of R wave. R wave will lose its voltage. R wave will become negative. You can see this. R wave has got
Yes, sir.
in wave form Q waves actually. R wave will be gone, and you may have only Q wave. Okay. Now later on that T wave inversion starts. Okay. Then ST will come down if there is no aneurysm. ST will come down and T wave also may come normal, but the Q wave may persist. This is how
Old MI, sir.
old,
Yes.
old when Q wave passes. So this happened in days, hours. This Q wave will start forming. I mean, R wave will lose its voltage. Okay, you should remember the evolution. Okay, they'll ask questions around this. There is something called as early repolarization syndrome. It can confuse you with MI. I'll show the ECG now. You can see here. What is it? J point. This is a J point. What is J point? Junction of S wave with the ST segment.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes.
Point.
ST, sir.
If the J point is shifted up, and the ST elevation is going like this, concave. Usually there it is convex, but in a STEMI it is convex. Here this is a concave ST elevation. Usually, you can see this. This is a concave ST elevation. There you get like this. Then J point is very prominent. Very prominent. You can see J point prominent here. Rather. It is more pronounced in precardial leads and inferior leads, early repolarization syndrome. So now you can see here also there is a ST elevation. Here also there. Not specific to any area. The features of early repolarization syndrome are it is seen in young adults. Okay, young adults. It is not MI. Young adults. Upward concave ST elevation will be there. Prominent J point. QRS ST segment junction. Stirring of a downslope of R wave. Absence of reciprocal changes. See, this is one more thing important. There is the anterior also ST elevation can be seen. Inferior also you can see ST elevation. The reciprocal changes are usually If you have a SE elevation in an anterior wall, you get reciprocal elevation in inferior wall. That happens in semi. But in this case, you are seeing SE elevation everywhere. Huh? Okay, reciprocal traces are upset here. Most common in seen pericarditis with large symmetrical T waves. Usually, I told you the T waves are like this. Okay, but
Yes,
here
sir.
syndrome, they are like symmetrical. You can this, huh? I'll show that here. So see T waves here. You can see they are symmetrical. Hmm? Symmetrical. Huh? Got it? Large symmetric T
Yes,
waves
sir.
are there. That is one of they can ask you this repellent syndrome. This one you should remember. These points. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And bundle branch blocks. How many bundles are there? There are two bundles,
The
left and right.
right bundle
Left
and the
hand.
left one.
Right bundle and left bundle. If they are blocked, if the conduction is not happening through that, then the electrical activity of that ventricle will happen through rest of the myocardium. Rather than passing through the Purkinje fibers and all that, the myocardium tissue from one myocardial cell to another, there's a electrical impulse transmission. Okay. If, for example, left bundle is blocked, the left ventricle will get depolarized with the myocyte to myocyte transmission. So this myocyte to myocyte transmission will produce a large electrical impulse with the slower conduction. The depolarization of the myocardium happens slower. If it happens to myocyte to myocardium, if it happens to the normal conductive tissue, it happens fast and very smooth happens. So that's why the bundle branch QRS mean duration is more than 0.12 incomplete. Why it happens? Because the depolarization is happening with trans myocyte, one myocyte to another myocyte. That is the reason the QRS duration will increase. What is the normal QRS duration? Smriti? Smriti?
Yes, sir.
What is the normal QRS duration? 0.08 to 0.12. That is. And
Yes,
because
sir.
there is a complete RVVB, this duration of the QRS complex will increase more than this. Okay. That is the one thing of bundle branch blocks. And if that QRS duration, although this is there, I'll tell you this, what is one more thing. Yeah. Although the pattern is RSR, RAM pattern, if there can be bundle branch block within the uh, time of this much, okay, 0.1 to 0.12. Okay, there can be. This is called when the duration is not more than. If there is a bundle branch block, if the duration is less than 0.12, then we call it as incomplete bundle branch block. Okay, if it is more than this duration, it is called complete bundle branch block.
Complete bundle.
You should know this. Uh, okay, this is much better. So this is a case of LVVV. This is a V1 lead, V6 lead. V1, V6. V1, V6. You can see here, in V1, there is a almost like a QS pattern. And you get M pattern here in V6.
Yes, sir.
Whereas in the RVVV, it is almost opposite. See, in RVVV, there is a W here. In fact, there is a W here. This is also W. Sometimes this can be like this. This can be like this also. Sometimes a small RV may be there inside. So this is QS, what we call. So this is there can be W here, M here, W here. Sorry, I did a mistake here. Okay. This is you can see here. This is W. Sorry, this is W. This is M. You can get M here. This is more nicely. M and W is shown here nicely. You see. RVV in V1 we get what is this? W pattern. In the here where in we lead V1 you get you can see this QS pattern. You can see QS pattern. It is M pattern is here. W pattern is here. So this is M. This is W. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
So here you get M. You get M here. Here you get W. So where you get W in V1? It is in LBBB.
V1.
In this, I'll show this. So W is here, M is here. Okay, in lead V1. Whereas here we get W in lead V1. Sorry, lead M here. I'm confusing you. Rather, this W here. Okay, I'll come to that how it happens. See, what is this? This is a septum. This is a septum. This is a septum. See, this is septum of the heart. So this intraventricular septum, so this produces small R wave in V1 actually, and small, normally I'm telling, small, normally, this may confuse, I'll tell you this, small R wave in V1 is seen and small Q wave in V6 is seen in normals. You can see that in lead 1, usually it goes like this. In lead 6, V6, things can go like this. Okay. See, the small Q waves and small R waves are normally seen. That is because of septal. These things are seen because of septal depolarization occurring through left bundle. If the left bundle is blocked, septal depolarization doesn't happen in the normal way, and that leads to loss of septal small initial R and R wave in V1 and Q wave in V6. This is lost in left bundle. So that's what manifests here. You can see the septal, because the septal R wave is present in RBBB. You can see that septal Q wave is present in RBBB. You're seeing this? See, these are septal Q waves. This septal R waves, septal Q waves is present in RBBB, whereas in LBBB, septal Q wave is absent. Directly QS pattern. Actually, it will be QS pattern. That is a merging of Q wave and S wave. One negative big deflection will be there. And R wave is septal, R wave is, sorry, septal R wave is absent here and Q wave is also absent here. In LBBB, septal R wave of V1 and Q wave of V6 are absent in left bundle branch block. That leads to this W and so-called what is this M pattern and W pattern of this. What I'm putting in reverse. We usually clinicians don't go like this. We call it as M. This is W. This is M. This is M. This is W. Okay. Got my point? Focus on this septal R wave. Rather, you should actually focus on this R wave. Q wave here. If you get septal R wave in V1, septal Q wave in V6, it is not LBBB. Most likely, and there will be right axis deviation because right ventricle is depolarized with myocardium to myocardium. The axis shifts to right side more often. In the left axis, deviation will be there here in QRS. You can see this. So this is actually, you are actually supposed to look at this. but clinically people put it loosely. LVV you get W pattern, M pattern, V1, V6, and reversal M W. Okay, got it? M W. This is RVV. LVVB, RVVB. Remember this, huh? V1, V6. You get here, you get predominantly negative. So predominantly negative means it should be W. Huh? Predominantly positive. It should be M. And here you get M. You get W. Huh? Okay. You got this? This is a table. Huh? Diagnostic criteria for RBVB. Same thing. RSR pattern. Otherwise, best thing RW and all that, you should see this RSR pattern. So the wisest thing to diagnose RBVB and LVB is looking for this RSR pattern. RSR pattern in V1. First positive deflection will be there. There is no negative deflection. If you get that is there. See RSR pattern in V1 to V3. That is M-shaped QRS complex. And wide and slurred S wave. You forget about these things. And that's what is seen here. You can see R, S, R. That is pattern is seen. RSR pattern in V1 is characteristic of RBVB. And causes RBVB. Anything with straining or dilatation of right ventricle can cause RBVB. That is pulmonary embolism, interval MI. Along with the interval MI also, there can be formation of RBVB because the right bundle can be damaged with it. It can present with the interval MI also can produce RBVB. Remember this. Okay. Very severe MI it will be. Interval MI producing RBVB means very massive MI can do this complication. Pulmonary stenosis, atrial septal defect, incomplete it is. They'll ask this question. Incomplete RBVB is seen in atrial septal defect. Then pulmonary hypertension, RV strain, COPD also, RVH is there. Chronic coronary disease can have RBVB. Okay. Most often it can be benign also. Diagnostic criteria LVV. You get a QRS. I told you na QRS pattern in V1. There is no that is wider than QRS or wider than 0.12, 0.12. A dominant S wave in V1. That I told you, it comes the predominant negative in V1. You can see this. The best way to diagnose LVB is looking in lead 1. If lead 1 is positive like this with wide complex, it is LVB. Okay. And if it is negative with the wide, you can call it as RBVB also. This can also be done. Look at lead 1. This also can be done. So apart from that, you get what? What do you get here? LVBB, V1, what is seen? You get negative. W in V1 and V6. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In V6, you get M.
Sir, monophagic R.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Monophagic R, sir.
Yeah, I can get monophasic. That is similarly in V6, we call it as QS. There can be monophasic R wave in V6. Yeah, there can be a small negative part can come at the tip. There can be monophasic R wave in V6 and monophasic down QS complex. Same can be seen.
Yes,
in LBB.
Yes, sir.
Those things are there. See, this RW is secondary. This is an in-between thing. A small thing that is happening now. If it is abolished, you can get monophasic like this. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's it. So that means that LVB will become negative in V1 and positive in V6. Okay. RBB becomes positive in V1, negative in V6. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That is why you can imagine. So I told you, if there is a block of the bundles, that ventricle will produce large voltage. Got it? So if the right bundle is blocked, the right ventricle will give larger voltage, and V1 is towards right ventricle and far away from V6. So right bundle will produce V1 positivity more, V6 negativity, and opposite for left bundle. Causes for LVVV, hypertension, heart disease, aortic stenosis, aortic, all left ventricular strains and dilatations, mitral valve calcification, impaired left ventricle function. Rarely, sometimes people can have this LVVV. Okay. Now we'll come to chamber enlargements. Chamber enlargements could be volume overload, pressure overload. What are the volume overload disease? MR, AR, that is mitral regurgitation, aortic regurgitation, pulmonary regurgitation, tricuspid regurgitation, aortic stenosis, aortic,
Atrial septal defect.
yeah, AT septal defect will cause biatrial enlargement can cause. AT septal defect, VSD, PDA. These all will cause chamber volume overload. Okay, these shunts. Now pressure overload, aortic stenosis, mitral stenosis, pulmonary stenosis, hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy, hypertension, they will cause pressure overload. So this will cause eccentric hypertrophy, this will cause concentric hypertrophy. Here thickness will be more, here chamber size is more. So ulta ito. Here volume, that chamber size is more, here thickness is more. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
We'll come to atrial enlargement now. So atria, right atrium first depolarizes, left atria depolarizes following. So the current depolarization of right atrium happens first, followed by left atrium.
Yes,
Got
sir.
it? So in a P wave, the first half is corresponding to right atrium, later half is corresponding to left atrium.
Yes, sir.
Got it? This is right atrium part, this is left atrium part. Unlike ventricles, where depolarization happens simultaneously for right and left ventricle, atria have got one after another depolarization. Got it? So only changes of the initial part of the P wave are a manifestation of the disease of right atrium. Later part are manifestation of left atrium.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And left atrium is a posterior most structure. Left atrium is the posterior most structure. Remember, this can be an MCQ. Midline and posterior most is left atrium. So only it depolarization in lead V1 produces negative deflection. Normally, depolarization of left atrium normally produces negative deflection. You can see a negative. This is part of right atrium. This is part of left atrium. Got it? Huh? Getting my
Yes,
point?
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so diseases of left right atrium will produce the height more due to increase in the initial part of the P wave. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Here also in lead V1, you get a taller P wave. Lead 2, this is lead 2, you get more than 2 squares. Here also it will be bigger P wave. So that is lead 1. Lead 2 is best seen. Okay. And in left atrial enlargement, the negative deflection of lead V1 is wider and deeper by more than one small square. Okay, this much is wider than and deeper, one small square. The part is wider than 0.3, but at least remember it one small square. It is more wider, and you get a P mitral. This is P mitral. Duration of the P wave is increased. That is more than 0.2. There is a notch here. You can see this notch. P mitral. You can see the notch with the
Yes, sir.
wider P wave more than 2.2. Okay. P mitral it is called. Both atrial enlargement will produce both height also, wide also, negative deflection bigger. bilateral enlargement. Where you get bilateral enlargement? Classically, where you get bilateral enlargement?
Sir?
Mitral stenosis, can you get bilateral enlargement? Huh?
Yes, sir. Metals and bilaterally, sir.
We can get bilateral enlargement, even if you get ESD and all that. You should remember that. Right atrium is more product. Okay. Bilateral enlargement you get in mitral stenosis and all that. Let me ask you that causes for right atrial enlargement. Right atrial defect. So atrial septal defect will produces right side changes more. Right ventricular, right atrium both are dilated in this one atrial septal defect. Chronic obstructive lung disease, right atrium is pulmonary stenosis, tricuspid valve disease, mitral valve stenosis, and regurgitation will produce biatrial enlargement. This will actually produce biatrial later, but a mitral valve can produce biatrial enlargement because of pulmonary side. It will go pressure, pulmonary venous congestion, pulmonary arterial hypertension, leading to right sided changes. Left atrial enlargement you get in what? Mitral valve disease, aortic valve disease, hypertension, aortic stenosis, mitral incompetence, and hypercardiomyopathy. Okay, left atrial enlargement. Then we'll talk something about left atrial hypertrophy. Left atrial hypertrophy produces. You look at this S wave here and
S in V1 or
V1 and V6. You have to add them.
yes, sir.
Negative part and positive part add. If it is more than 35, it is
35
LVH.
small.
Okay, 35 small squares. Okay. R S wave in V1 and R wave in V6 add if it is more than
35 small one.
V1, V2 also some people take. V1, see, you can, sorry, I written here, see. V1 in R wave, V1 of R wave, V5 or V6, of V6, what is this, S wave of V1, notice, the S wave of V1 and R wave of V5 or V6, if it is more than 3.5 or 35 mm, it is LVH. Okay. And similarly, a lot of criteria
R
are
in
there
V1.
for RV rate ventricular hypertrophy. You remember this?
S in V6.
R wave in V1 is more than 7 mm. You can note this. This one is easy to remember. Okay, the lot of criteria are there. S1, S2, S3 pattern, S1, Q3. Okay, this about, they may not ask you about these things. This is about right ventricular hypertrophy. So tomorrow, madam is taking theory class on epidemiology. Okay.
Okay.
So if you got any doubts now, you ask me.
Yes.
So have you got any doubts? Did I confuse you anywhere?
No, sir.
So tomorrow she will take epidemiology. Then I'll follow with a few more CVS lectures. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow at similar time.
Yes, sir.
Okay.